live depiction of The Last of Us, they have introduced the clickers into them.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes.
If they did, now the clickers, as we know, and again, spoilers. Last of Us is a fungal infection, right? That it starts taking over the brain. Now, once you get to the clicker stage, well, vision is now a problem, and then any sound that you make, they're like,
I don't know if I want to hear this.
and they're like looking around, and then they fall, and that's how they get to you, right? Just like a
boom.
little bit of
Fuck that
a
shit.
little bit of sound. So it's
You
about
made me want to
sound.
grab a weapon.
So if you, yeah, no, but okay,
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
and that's what I'm saying.
I'm just
That's
saying.
So,
a
but this,
I need to
no.
protect
but you
myself.
might not need to. You might not need to roll
That sounds
up.
pretty aggressive.
You might not need to roll up. If you just
Which zombie would I prefer to be attacked by?
World War Z was like ants.
I'm absolutely not picking World War Z.
They move like water. The thing about Resident Evil zombies,
as far as The Last of Us,
Introduce the clickers.
Okay, here we go. All right. So, guys, I think this is pretty relevant because, Last of Us just came out recently. And as I watched a couple episodes, it had me thinking about something. And I started thinking about other zombie adaptations, live action only. And I just want to first preface this by saying there may be major spoilers ahead for Last of Us if you haven't seen it. So I'll start by first saying that to the viewers. If you haven't seen Last of Us, spoilers. But I started thinking about if you woke up either in a city, in a desert, however you want to phrase it, whatever type of terrain, and you turn around and you have these three types of zombies, which of these three would you least likely want to be attacked by? Last of Us zombies, Resident Evil zombies, or World War Z zombies?
Ooh.
who wants to start?
I'm going to ask this question. So, which type of zombies are you talking about from Resident Evil? Because if you remember, there's like three different.
Just affected by the T virus.
There's okay.
There you
not
go.
the T virus.
Yes, just basic T virus zombies. I'm not talking Nemesis.
So
I'm
first
not
level
talking-
zombie.
Yes, just first level zombies.
No evolution.
Well,
And-
that makes the conversation weird, though, doesn't it? Because the T-level zombies, if you remember the first Resident Evil video game, where you turn around and he slowly looks back, and then I shut it off and never played it again. You got that's not very scary. But if you bring in...
But they were.
Well, it's terrifying. It's terrifying, but I mean, you know what I'm saying.
We're going to go off the parameters of the live action movies, or right? I would imagine that's
right. Live adaptations only. So Resident Evil.
I understand the video game
angle, though. That would quantify because the zombie dogs were T virus. So that level of zombie, and from what I remember watching of the Resident Evils. Those zombies are pretty vicious.
But we're only talking human. We're talking about the human zombies, though, right?
Yeah, they weren't like broken leg. I can't do a zombie like Matt can do, but like he does the best zombie impressions. But like they're not those types of zombies. They were coming after you.
I will take anybody over Nemesis any day. Sorry,
Nemesis.
Any other zombie.
Nemesis, the Nemesis zombie.
You're talking G virus. I mean, when we go to the higher levels, we'll talk about that. But hey, so let me just ask you this, Mr. Jers. As far as The Last of Us, because The Last of Us has 4 different categories, right? It's got the runners, it's got the stalkers, it's got the clickers, and then the bloaters. I know, and we're talking based off the game now. I know that the live action adaptation only has the runners.
Well, actually, in the live depiction of The Last of Us, they have introduced the clickers into them.
Oh,
so yes.
Okay, if they did, now the clickers, as we know, and again, spoilers. Last of Us is a fungal infection, right? That it starts taking over the brain. Now, once you get to the clicker stage, well, vision is now a problem. And then any sound that you make, they're like,
I don't know if I want to hear this.
you know, and they're like looking around, and then they fall, and that's how they get to you, right?
It's just
like a little bit of like, you know, a little bit of sound. So it's about
you made me want to
sound.
grab a weapon.
So you, yeah, yo, no, but that's, okay,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying.
So
I need to protect myself.
You might not need to roll up.
That sounds pretty aggressive.
You might not need to roll up if you do stealth, and the clickers are just going by like, and they're looking around, looking all, and you just quiet about it. Then you could pass by them. Now the runners are different. The first level ones, they still have their sight. So if they see you, even if you're being quiet, they'll still run up on it. So, you know, to me personally, I'm more nervous of the runners than I am the clickers. The clickers are just harder to kill.
I've never played the Last of Us game. So I know that me, alongside a lot of other viewers right now, have no idea about the story of The Last of Us. I'm a Pedro Pascal fan. I hear The Last of Us is a great story, and I like zombie material. So I'm interested in watching The Last of Us. So I know I'm getting a lot of spoilers just being a part of this conversation, but it's okay because I'm learning. But in watching that, it really had me thinking about, wow, would I want to be attacked by these types of zombies? But then if I were to be attacked by a zombie, which zombie would I prefer to be attacked by? You know,
I went back and I watched World War Z, like as you guys recommended. I had it. And Last of Us, another game that I did not finish. Like, I don't like scary games. Sorry, I don't. But the hive mind zombies over the speed zombies, because now if you go 28 days later, I know that's not one of them. And they're chasing you. Honorable mention. They can chase you. Are they? Although they're fast, are they as terrifying as the hive mind zombies that you step on something, one sees you, they all know where you are?
All right, so you mentioned that, and I got another. Well, actually.
Okay.
Yep. So you mentioned that, and with The Last of Us, they have went on in the live action version. They went on a different tangent, and anytime you step on any of like the mushrooms or anything and they're miles away, they know that you're there.
Hold on a second. That's a well actually for me. That is a well actually for me.
Did you just well actually?
But that's not 100% true, because all I know is that if it's live, if it's a live situation, like the route is live, it connects to everybody. But in a situation that I saw in the most recent episode, sorry guys, spoiler, when they disturbed the situation, it didn't do anything. It didn't attract people.
That is for the ones that aren't dead, like the that have been there for a while. But if you saw in the very end, whenever he killed that, spoilers, whenever they killed that final zombie, it alerted the other ones miles away.
The one
they don't know your exact location, but they know that you're somewhere in the general vicinity. Your exact
they know your exact location based off of the fibers or whatever it is.
Well,
but it has to be
let me ask you something. So let's take this instead of a desert, and I just want to make this because most of the zombie chase scenes that make us all freaked out is in a linear hallway trying to get to an elevator or a door, an egress door to get out, right? Usually it's like, you see them coming around the hallway and they're like, and then they're all walking down this hallway and there's a bunch of them and they just, and you're taking them out, throwing grenades, and you got to freaking walk down the hallway, right? So let's say you're trying to get to an elevator, right? And you got to run.
Okay.
The same thing. Step on the shrooms, right? They all know where you're at. And now you're like, oh, snap, I need to get out of here. And you start hauling. Now forget about being sneaky, nothing, right? Everybody, they now know where you are. Can you outrun them?
Oh,
you have and that's the thing is like, because according to the live action, I think you can outrun them. They're clumsy. they're falling all over the place. They're not running with conviction like the World War Z zombies that they see you.
Yes.
I think
They
Those are
just
like
coming at
Olympic
you.
how far along
runners.
they. Wait, it depends on how far along they evolved. So I'm assuming we're talking about the Last of Us zombies, right? In phase one, it's like they
They're
can
runners.
still see. They're runners.
Yes.
They can still see, but they're still connected by the whole hive mind thing. Everybody's connected, like the ants thing, right? So once they get to level 2, phase 2, where they're the clickers, they can't see. They only can get you by sound. I don't know. If they're connected like
but
that,
it's not like ants. It's not like World War Z was like ants.
I was about to say
because they
World War
were
Z was
climbing.
ants.
World War
They
Z.
were building. Yeah, so that is the
He said
Resident
they
Evil
were
zombies and the
building.
Last of Us zombies. They were making a building. Like there was a wall that they
made a
built
wall
a wall out of themselves.
What I can say, with all honesty, and I'll phrase it this way: if it's only 3 zombies, one from each Resident Evil, World War Z, and Last of Us, right? That's a different thought level rather than a horde from each. If it's 10 from Resident Evil, 10 from Last of Us, and 10 from World War Z, I'm absolutely not picking World War Z. I'm absolutely not.
No.
Yeah.
That's a huge no. So what I can say with full confidence, this, I'm dying. They're killing me. They're, World War Z zombies are getting me with the quickness. Those are LeBron level zombies.
So let's say I know this is silly, but let's say you remember everybody's watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right? And you remember how
classic.
Droopy Dog is running the elevator, right? And you got to jump, you got to get in the elevator, right? And Droopy's like, "What floor is she?" And you're trying to hurry up and you're telling him, "Gotta get me down." He's like, "Going down, sir. Watch your steps, sir." It's taking forever. You have the best chance of surviving with Droopy Dog in the elevator with Resident Evil zombies. No, I'm sorry, excuse me, Last of Us zombie.
When I'm looking at Resident Evil zombies, this is what I'm thinking about, right? Resident Evil zombies, they're very cannibalistic in nature, right? They have a lower brain function. Their flesh is decaying. Okay? I feel like if you can outlast a Resident Evil zombie, you can survive. Okay? With a World War Z zombie, the minute they get you, you're turned in 12 seconds. Instantly. You know what I mean? And we also know, if you haven't seen World War Z, this is probably going to be a spoiler. I
hope you have.
We also know with World War Z, if you're healthy, they're coming after you.
Yeah.
So if you're in good shape, they're coming for you. And they're not going to stop. They will ravage everything until they get to you. Now with The Last of Us, again, I'm still learning. I'm still watching the show. I'm very much entertained by it. I'm learning about these runners. I don't know what their reasoning is for coming after people just yet. I don't know why they're, are they hungry? Are they trying to feed?
They just
is
want
it
to
something
spread
else?
The virus.
They just want to spread the virus, so they're doing whatever they can in order to spread the virus.
Oh, so that changes things though, because that means that their mindset they're not gonna stop either until they get you.
Right.
Now, how do they turn you? Is it just a scratch? Is it a bite?
It's a bite.
What specifically though? Wait, World War Z
for the Last of Us.
It could also be airborne. Well, no, it could also be airborne too from the spores.
So actually,
man, he got 3.
They changed it in the live action film because they said with it being the spores, it's not as, I think they said, realistic with it, because if it's airborne, it's going to catch into everybody super fast, easily, yeah. But that's why they changed it to the hive mind that I was talking about earlier in the show.
Interesting.
So,
and I wanted to add to that though, Justin, as you remember, and this is sort of actually to add on to that, is that they had to consume it. So it's like the guy said, flour, wheat, whatever it is, because where do fungus grow?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have to consume it, but they said they found out that consuming it through extended periods of
Correct.
time, not just
which
like
is
you
why in the
fight
game,
something.
just to staple
Right.
on that, in
And
the game, when you go down into lower levels where the ventilation is very poor, the air is stagnant, and those spores are out there, they had to wear gas masks because the exposure. But if they're getting rid of that'll be interesting. I would like to actually see how they steer away from that.
Well, that's why, and that's where my confusion comes into play. That's where my confusion comes into play, because when we're talking about hive mind zombies, then you can hide all you want because they know where you are pretty much at all times, and eventually they're going to get you.
But
And they're gonna,
unless you
and
avoid
they're
it.
going to kill you. Avoid, but then if you have like the Resident Evil zombies, you just hide for long enough, and they're not going to give up. But
you can outlast them.
Yeah, I need to get
because
caught
they're
up.
decaying.
There's like a lot of like zombie movies where I feel as though certain things feel more realistic, whereas others are like meh. Like T virus, we understand that the idea that people are trying to create they'll do the whole super soldier genome thing. So okay, that could possibly happen. The thing that's going on with The Last of Us, we already know about the one fungus that can infect an ant and take over a whole ant colony. So the ants themselves have to figure out a way to defend the colony by getting rid of that one infected ant, by like tossing it off a cliff or doing whatever they do. They get it out of their colony.
well, what about Lady Dimitrescu and her daughters?
Lady Dimitrescu.
She's a vampire.
So that's because so the thing about Resident Evil zombies is, yes, sure, you can absolutely outlast them for the ones that are decaying, but the ones that aren't decaying are mutating. So one of the reasons I said it'd probably be better to live in the Resident Evil universe is the fact that if you do outlast them and then eventually you get caught, you're just going to end up mutating like Lady Dimitrescu and become a vampire or something of the sort. You still have your consciousness, versus like the other ones, like either you're going to be eaten alive or you're just going to become mindless.
Oh, so the lady and her daughters are zombies. That can rip you.
It's a mutation thing, but
so and that's why I go with Resident Evil, because Resident Evil zombies they'll get you and they'll eventually mutate and they'll rip you apart and they can think. They're not stupid.
So you'd rather be eaten by a zombie that is hungry and wants to consume flesh.
Yeah, but
I would rather not be eaten by any zombie. I would rather not be eaten by any zombie.
But the Resident Evil zombies, like if we're talking live action movies, they go at such a slow pace where you could just spray, right? You could just mow down a whole bunch of them, and spray and pray. But it's true.
Well,
if you look at every single Resident Evil adaptation, you can spray and pray, and you'll live.
You're gonna run out of bullets. You're gonna run out of bullets eventually.
As well as randomly.
Run out of bullets.
You got to be walking around like Michonne the whole time.
Walking contorted, and they're falling.
That's what I'm saying.
And, I think you can live.
Well, as well as if you're in the Resident Evil universe, you get slow mo shots all the time. So like you get slow mo.
Oh yeah,
if you're Mila Jovovich, you get some. But keep in mind, also, Alice's character had superpowers. So her battling those zombies would be completely different for regular people. And I don't know, something about hungry zombies, like, and they're not getting tired. Like, they're going to keep coming after you if they're hungry. Versus a zombie who wants to spread an infection. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think in either way, they're all coming after you.
Yeah, but
that's because the Last of Us zombies are trying to turn you.
The World War Z zombies, it's like playing tag with your boy who you know has got fast feet. You do not want that person chasing you. That he's coming.
But the Last of Us. So at the end of the day, that puts the Last of Us.
Like, it's too much. You gonna be trying to come around the corner and he's just. No, you gonna catch
the Last of Us zombies. So that puts the Last of Us zombies at the bottom, doesn't it? Because the Last of Us zombies.
I personally put them at the bottom.
They're trying to turn you. They're trying to turn you. They're not smart. And if the Resident Evil zombies are trying to rip you in half. They're
They're
not
trying
trying
to
to turn
They're
you.
trying to
They're
eat
trying to eat you.
They're trying to
and
eat you because they're
They
hungry.
need to live.
Hold
Right.
tight, hold tight, hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Hold tight, hold tight.
But they're already
Let's
dead.
put into perspective real quick. Right? We have a fungus, right, that's invading the body and pretty much mind controlling, right? Meanwhile, you have a zombie that's undead that can't think for itself. I think I'd be more afraid of the hive mind of the alien, the invasive species that's trying to invade your body and take you over. It's just like the various movies that ever came out about like aliens coming to the planet and somehow you get assimilated. You know what I mean? That's what I think that the Last of Us genre is trying to do.